Hello everybody out there, and welcome back here with the future once again to another retro showcase and review. And if you haven't saw any of my retro showcase and reviews by now, I show off old school items, action figures, mint on card and loose. I've showed off TV trays, etc. You never know exactly what I'll show off here on my channel. But the retro showcase and reviews are all about the old school stuff that I grew up with as a kid up to about 2001. I cut the line on my retro showcase and reviews. Any items after that are just regular showcase and reviews. But it is Halloween month, which I have not got too into here on my channel yet. But the next few days I'll be releasing 3 Halloween related videos. And today we are going to do a action figure that has definitely a Halloween vibe to it, especially since it was this series that it was tied into was launched October 24th. Of 1994, and it ran for 3 seasons up till February of 97, and it was none other than Gargoyles. And I have a mint on card action figure here of the main human character, Elisa Maza. She is the main human character, as I said here, mixed up with all the Gargoyles. One of the befriends Goliath in the series and has a friendship with him throughout it. But these were made by Kenner in 1995 when they were part of the Tonka Corporation. But yeah, I can't wait to get a look at this Gargoyles action figure, which was tied into the animated series, like I said, which was produced by Disney, believe it or not. A very dark tone, macabre tone for a series released by Disney, especially back in 1995. This followed up like Batman the Animated Series, the popularity of that. So they were kind of going off that vibe with the Gargoyles series. And Elisa Maza, if I'm going to get one figure, definitely want to get a main character, and she was the main human character from the show, along with the rest of the Gargoyles. And we will have a little bit more info here on the Gargoyles and whatnot, the show itself and stuff, when I get into the action figure, mint on card action figure review. And this is mint on card, so I won't be opening it up. Like I said, 3 Halloween-related showcase and reviews coming up. Actually, not all 3 are going to be showcase and reviews. One is actually going to be a annual Halloween horror DVD collection update. And I haven't done any movie collection updates since last year when I did a Halloween one. I've kind of gotten off of doing those. Even though I do still collect movies, I just haven't been reviewing those. Kind of more into action figures lately and stuff. Related to toys and whatnot, old pop culture. But yeah, I hope everybody enjoys this retro showcase and review of the mint on card 1995 Kenner Gargoyles Elisa Maza mint on card action figure here. And yeah, without further ado, happy Halloween everybody out there, and let's get into it. Okay, so here we have the Elisa Maza Gargoyles mint on card action figure from 1995 by Kenner, as you can see here, when they were part of the Tonka Corporation, a subsidiary of Hasbro at the time, Pawtucket, Rhode Island, all rights reserved. You can see awesome cross-sell art here on the back that we're going to be taking a look at. This is a mint on card review. Also the figure within here, some damage on the packaging, but she is mint on card nonetheless, and I had to have a carded representation of the Gargoyles in my collection. It is a very memorable show. You know, it started when I was 12 years old and ran up till the time I was 15. So I was right around that range when I was like kind of stopping to watch animated series. But when this was on, it did interest me. And Elisa Maza being the main character of the show really intrigued me on picking up. These were not cheap off eBay, so getting Elisa Maza was a chore in itself, and she was rather cheap compared to the rest of the figures. I've had her for a while now, but wanted to do her around Halloween time, since I said this was launched by Disney around Halloween time on October 24th of 1994, the series itself. And then the action figures came along from 1995 and were discontinued in 1997. But a little write-up here on Gargoyles itself as a series. Is an American animated television series produced by Walt Disney Television and distributed by Buena Vista Television. Originally aired from October 24th, 1994 to February 15th, 1997. The series features a species of nocturnal creatures known as gargoyles that turn to stone during the day. After spending 1,000 years in an enchanted, petrified state, the gargoyles, who have been transported from medieval Scotland, are reawakened in modern-day New York City and take roles as the city's secret night protectors. And it ran for 3 seasons, as I said. It ran for 22 minutes was the running time of it. Walt Disney Television Animation. Producer was Frank Power. Had 78 episodes total, the Gargoyles did. And it was noted for its relative dark tone and complex story arcs. Had kind of Shakespearean themes to it. It also received favorable comparisons to the Batman animated series. There was also a video game adaptation and a spin-off comic series that were released in '95 as well. There was a lot of merchandise released on the Gargoyles, and the show's storyline continued from 2006 to 2009 in a comic book series of the same title that was produced by Steve Labor Comics. Elisa Maza herself is a fictional character and the main human character on Gargoyles, voiced by American actress Sally Richardson. And in the series, she is an NYPD detective who is the steadfast ally of the honorary member of the Gargoyles Manhattan Clan, Goliath. And a little bit about her story. She was especially close to Goliath, the clan's leader. She evaded both of them and left deliberately ambiguous over 2 seasons, a subject that was originally evaded. I don't know what that really means, but that's on my notes. And it says she also serves as the clan's guide to the modern world, as well as its voice of reason, often curbing the irrational impulses of its members. So, a good write-up there on Elisa Maza. And in the first episode, in about the middle of the episode, you can see her introduction to the Manhattan Clan. But like I said, as far as the figures go, they were launched in 1995 to 97. There were some concerns about these figures as far as lack of vehicles, and both the protagonists and antagonists didn't look that heroic or aggressive in the line they were said to. The key human ally Elisa and key evil gargoyle were in fact both female, which, females driving a line back then was not one of the main things that they usually did, so that could have hurt sales on the line itself. He personally wished that Kenner had also made an Angela figure. Greg Wiseman, who was met with Kenner about main concerns for the toy line in 1993. This Wiseman did. So, there were some concerns on the figure itself, but nonetheless, I think that they did a good job as far as an array of characters and whatnot. Here's the Elisa Maza with Rocket Wing Jetpack, and you can see her, mechanical wings there on her jetpack, and you have this blaster here that rocketed off as well. I think it went strapped onto the back of the wings there. You'll see on the back here how it was worked. And there's some pistols with her as well. She was a detective. Pretty good likeness of Elisa Maza. I like the card backs though. I mean, you're coming into a store and you see that. It's pretty eye-catching. With Goliath up there to the left, straight out of the series, and the Gargoyles logo there as well. Gargoyles, it says here on the back as we go to the back. And you can see this steel stair, looks like a steel stair there, ripping into the package. It says, frozen and stoned by day, flesh and blood, winged warriors by night. Awaking after 1,000 years, a band of powerful gargoyles find themselves transported to a time and place not their own, New York City. Here, the misunderstood creatures battle modern-day barbarians and struggle to understand their strange new world. Gargoyles, the legend begins. But it really doesn't say nothing about Elisa Maza, that's why I had to read that right up. Some of that was a little confusing that I read there, but I hope everybody got the gist of it. I try to give a little bit of background while I'm doing these so people aren't just in the dark on what's going on. 1995, Tonka Corporation, as I said, subsidiary of Hasbro. But here was how you did the action here. And it says, winged backpack snaps onto figure's waist. Weapons can be held in figure's hands. Wings can be manually positioned as shown. And there's the launcher that stores on the backpack as shown. Load projectile, then push firing button backwards to fire. Handgun stores and slots, and figure's legs as shown. So I love that old school, like how to do it on the back, Elisa Maza, for the figures. It's funny that she's not pictured in the cross sale here. This had to be Series 1, 2, because Series 2, you got the massive, I believe it was the New York, it was a Castle Play set that you got in the second one. Elisa Maza was not actually, let's see here. Elisa Maza, she was not actually, this is Series 2. This is by the time that Series 2 was released, because she was not released until Series 2 out of the 3 series. Now that I'm getting into my notes here. So, out of the 3 series, I believe, I always thought that Elisa Maza must have been released in Series 1, but I never really looked here. But that was the same time that the Castle playset was released, and just a bunch of variations of the Gargoyles. The Gargoyles outweighed all the other characters, and like I said, the other clan leader was a female too. But let's get into this backing here. This had to be a Series 2 packaging, so a lot of these were already released. You had Hudson with his sword-thrusting body blow, Claw Climber Goliath with high-rise climbing gear. You had Bronx with attack jaw and glider wings. You had Battle Goliath with blasting combat mace and spear. You had Lexington with firing stinging crossbow. Brooklyn with striking horns and snapping jaw. Broadway with power slam arms. Then you had Quick Strike with springing attack action. And then you had Stone Armor Goliath with breakaway stone plates and flapping wings there. And they looked great. I like the design on these figures. But like I said, I was collecting just basically Jakks wrestling figures and Hasbro's by this time. 94 is when Hasbro's went under, so Jakks was my next thing to collect, WWF, and some WCW and stuff, but I wasn't into collecting any like cartoon or movie related figures at this time. But man, do I wish I had the set of these guys. I want to try to pick up at least a Goliath. You can see here other figures from the line. Steel Clan Robot with exploding body power. Demona with firing stun gun and wing flap attack. Xanatos with Gargoyles, disguise armor, and battle wings. And then you had Strike Hammer Macbeth with pounding stone blaster weapon. You also had Mighty Roar Goliath and Power Wing Goliath with raging battle cry and piercing light up eyes, as Goliath had mechanized pop out wing blast action. Very, very cool looking action figures though, as you can see here. What a cool looking line. Very nice. And then you had 2 vehicles here. You had the Night Striker action vehicle with grabbing capture claws and firing battle rocket, and then you had the Rippin' Rider Cycle with hidden rocket launcher and stone camouflage. So there's all your figures shown on the back. Very, very cool action figure, especially mint on card. I love the card backs and the card art on these. I love that Gargoyles logo right there. That is just awesome. Especially around Halloween time. These figures are just amazing for that. But you can see just some classic looking action figures here. So what a line to collect. Like I said, they weren't too cheap to come by on eBay. But if you got the cash, we're getting a little blurry there. Definitely worth trying to pick some of these guys up. I love the names of these guys too. But yeah, let's take a little closer look at Elisa Maza. These were like a 5-inch action figure line too, if I didn't mention. It looks like the classic 5 points of articulation that you got back then. Nothing too fancy. It reminds me a lot of the mold of the head of the old, April O'Neil figure from the Turtles for Playmate. So these like almost would fit right in with your Turtles action figures to play along with, which a lot of figure lines did back then too. Although the Turtles were kind of winding down by 94, 95. But what a logo there. There's Goliath to the left. Like I said, I'd love to pick up one of the Gargoyles, but I will definitely settle for Elisa Maza right now as a representation in my collection. So I hope everybody who didn't know about the Gargoyles might have learned a little bit more on them and may have found out about an action figure line that they didn't know about, or a series they didn't know about. Especially a darker series by Walt Disney. Me being a Disney fan, you gotta love that. So yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed checking this out. Like I said, I have a couple more Halloween-related videos coming up. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Drop a comment down below. Give me a like if you like what you see. Hit that notification bell to be notified for all my videos upcoming. And yeah, guys, until next time, I hope everybody has a happy Halloween time out there. And if you haven't saw Gargoyles, definitely try to check it out. And get a hold of some of these figures if you're a collector, because these are nice. And yeah, guys, as always, until next time, thanks for watching. And as always, peace out.